herbs are a wonderful thing, and we can make lots of teas. See those cleavers in there? We're going to be talking about them and some other herbs in a few minutes. But yes, tea is just, this is my second cup. That's why you see a few tea leaves already in the cup. But actually what this is a lot of different herbs. I've got basically my chai tea and a few others plus my cleavers in here. But you know, the Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. He's our provider. We can go out and search for herbs and food and different things like that. But let's always remember who our provider is. He gives us the health to go out. He may lead us and help us to find things. He's our provider. He's our main cup of tea. Okay, I am not in my yard now, but I know a place to find an herb that uses, it's really good. It helps to move phlegm. Here we go. Notice the little whorls. It's really, really sticky. Like, not sticky that comes off, but I don't know how you describe it. I'm just gonna, now when these get bigger, they're too tough, and they're just, I don't know, they don't work as well. And they can take over. You don't want them in your yard, and they're horrible when they get big, but they are really good and kind of cool. So yeah, this is December and I'm picking these. Now, I couldn't find them last year. I don't know what happened, but then the people had some horses over here for a while, and they may have eaten them down. But they're here this year, or maybe I waited too late. I was waiting later in the spring. It just kind of depends on the weather as to how they come up, I guess. This one here is not one. It's like a wild pea or something. Okay, I'm gonna pick some more of this and make me a tea with it. I still have a little bit of phlegm I just can't seem to get rid of. So maybe I'll add this with some other stuff and make myself a little tea. And like I said, you want to get these when they're small. They grow up long and grow up the sides of trees and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, they say the person that invented Velcro got the idea from these. I guess if you look under a microscope, they got like little hooks. It's not a sap sticky. It's sticky like Velcro. So this is not one. And like sometimes I'll take and pick a bunch together, but you want to be really careful to check those when you get back home that you don't have something else you're not supposed to have in there, so you don't get something you don't want. Okay, I think that's maybe enough to mix with some other herbs, but yeah. That's an herb that's growing in the end of December. Like I said, sometimes it doesn't come up. It's all through here. Sometimes it doesn't come up this thick. Looks pretty barren, huh? Well, that's because I just clipped it all back for the winter. But that was my lemon verbena. Are there any herbs still alive in December? Well, I don't know about other places, but all I can tell you about is California. This one down here is some nasturtium. It's looking a little ragged there. But there's even a flower. And there are some leaves that are usable, I suppose. I would think that the leaves would not be as potent, and they are kind of yellowed. This one is actually under a roof, is the only reason it's still alive. My others are dead. So it all depends kind of where you might have your herbs. Now, here's an aloe vera that is still very much alive, but it does look a little cold, maybe? But it also is underneath a roof, although it's pretty close to the edge. Now, this one is out in the yard. It has acclimatized itself. The first 2 years I had it out here in the winter, it just nearly died all the way back except for the very center. And we've had some hard freezes, and it has had some problems. Look at this here. But overall, it's really kind of acclimatized itself to being out here in the yard. This is another type of aloe. I don't think it's one that you would eat, but you can still use the gel on burns and stuff like that. It seems to be doing fair. Now, I wouldn't use these because it's out in my yard and the dogs pee out here and stuff. But it is an herb, and it's growing all through the grass, and there's more herbs than there is grass. But I wouldn't use any of these. This is plantain here. Down there, growing out of the gravel, is mallow, much like marshmallow. It's a relative. This is the wild herb version. Works great. It's good in salads and everything. Like I said, I think in the wintertime, I don't think the leaves are as potent, although these leaves look really great. Now, in other parts of the country under the snow, they probably wouldn't come up yet. The mallow is just growing everywhere. This has a mucilaginous consistency in it that's really good for the tummy and things like that. So a great herb. I could even get in the winter if I need it. Now, I just ate some that was outside the other day, but there's an herb growing out of my pot of jalapenos, this is in the greenhouse, and it looks really good. That's sow thistle. And I even am still getting jalapenos out of my greenhouse. Now, that's not an herb, or neither are jalapenos, but there was an herb growing in it. But it's still in good. I've been eating these hot banana peppers out of my greenhouse. I have plantain growing that is good out of the ground in my greenhouse. And back here behind this holy basil is a tea plant, a black tea plant that's still alive. And I don't know how, with the frost that we've had, but there's some fennel growing, more sow thistle next to it, and there's something else here. I don't know. I think that is, I'm not sure, but it's edible. Yeah, I think that's chicory leaves, which are very edible. Good in a salad. That's blackberry leaves down there. They're kind of protected by the pots that are kind of around them. It's growing in an area I really don't want it. You can dry the blackberry leaves. They're a bit astringent, which is what you like. They taste like black tea, but I usually get the tips in the good weather, spring and summer, where the new fresh tips are growing out. Those are the ones that I save and use. But if you had to, you could use those there, at least to get the nutrition out of it. Right next to it is a honeysuckle vine, which I'm surprised it's still alive too. Guys, we've had a couple of really hard freezes where I scrape ice off the windows. I don't know why this stuff is still alive, but that's fine with me. Of course, good old rosemary. Now, I just left the leaves that fell down on top of my lemon thyme, but it's a good protection and it'll break down and be nutritious. But yeah, you've got lemon thyme. Actually, there's some calendula leaves down there. They're kind of protected down low in the box. My goodness, even some of my skullcap is still alive. Of course, my yellow dock, those make great leaves for a salad. Now, in some of these, a lot of these wild ones, you don't want to use an overabundance of them, but they are good. Usually in the spring, when it'll dry out a little bit, then I'll dig up some of the roots of these too, which is much like some of the same things as burdock has. And if I really wanted, I could cut some of these lavender leaves. I've even got a lavender flower still. How, I don't know. Of course, I used that yarrow when I know I've got that blockage when that happened and it split. And French sorrel over there and regular thyme. My hyssop is still looking really good. And I've even got self-heal, but I don't have any of the flowers. That's the most medicinal part from what I've found. But I use both the leaves and the flowers. Down in there is sage. It's still alive. That's more yellow dock, just a different kind. Of course, you're going to have your winter vegetables, which this is an herb parsley. You're going to find that. There's some mullein down there. I guess I could use some of those leaves if I need to. I pulled most of my mullein up, kept a couple plants, but I'm finding that dried mullein doesn't stay good for very long dried. I'll just have to come out here and try to get a few of these leaves if I want, because the other ones just don't, I don't know, they don't seem to keep for me very well. So if you ran out of your dried herbs or you just want some fresh ones, go take a look outside. Even though it may be winter, look around the edges of covered areas, maybe between a bunch of pots or around some boards or under a little roof or, and see what you find. You just never know. Anyway, give me a thumbs up and we will catch you all next time. Have a happy hunting.